sell Zans, but the bands was calling. Late night on the creeps and my demons calling. Jesus calling, please get off me, boy, coming.
Oh hey, what's up? We're back in here to review Wifisfuneral, When Hell Falls. 19-year-old Bronx, New York rapper, currently signed to Rich Life Records, and he's released a new album. Historically, with Wifisfuneral, I don't really know a crazy amount about him. I did go ahead and listen to his previous project before this one, and I wasn't really impressed with what I heard. This project is definitely a step in a new direction for Wifisfuneral, I would say. In the right direction, I'm not 100% sure. Getting into the tracks, he's got 12 tracks on this thing. Actually, I think it's 11, but the 12th track is actually a bonus track that features Danny Towers. This thing is dark and spacey and not really melodic. I would say it's pretty cohesive. I would say it's cohesive in the sense that it carries the same sound throughout the project. It doesn't tend to stray away or go into a different style. I mean, he definitely knows what he's comfortable with, so I give him hats off for that. But when you start listening to this thing, you get kind of captivated even by the intro track. I mean, Hell on Earth is a track that really kind of gets you into this mindset where you feel like you understand him a little bit more. Where he apologizes to his mother, or I don't know, when he says mama, I don't know if he's referring to a female or if he actually is referring to his mother when he says, I didn't mean to sell Zans, but the bands was calling. It was definitely an interesting track if this is your first time listening to Wi-Fi. But from that point, it kind of goes downhill for me anyway. There's just not enough interesting about this album to keep the listener captivated for the entire time. Like I said, he has a very good, distinct voice, and it's very nice to hear him take over a beat. I feel like with the proper lyrics, he definitely has a great future as far as rapping is concerned. But there are a couple of tracks on here that are just butchered, man, that are just like, why would you do this? Like on the track Hunnits and Fifties, features young bands. It had so much potential to be my favorite track on this album. However, it just wasn't because it had so much holding it back. With all of it holding it back, I still listen to this on a daily basis. I've been listening to it while I was at work, while I was working out, while I was driving. I mean, there's a lot of good places to just play this. But on this track, it starts off with kind of like a arcade game opening intro. You know, he comes in with his hook, and it's okay. You know, it's not the greatest hook in the world, but it's okay. It's something that's doable. I can, you know, get through it. I can listen through it. It's manageable. Then we immediately go into Young Band's verse, which is so mediocre in my opinion. I mean, he doesn't really say anything. All of it's pretty satire, and a lot of it is really fillery. He doesn't really offer much context or offer anything for you to listen to further throughout the track. He doesn't make you a Young Band's fan, if that's what I'm trying to say. And there's one part in his verse where he completely goes against the beat and starts rapping way faster than we needed him to. You know how when you're first about to have sex and you might go a little bit too hard the first time, trying to hold you back and ease up a little bit, but then you shove the whole thing inside? That's kind of what he tried to do to us listeners on this track. We weren't ready for all of it, and he just shoved it all in anyway. Like, we were dry, we weren't moist, we weren't heated up. The equivalent to somebody going in way too hard, way too fast. And it's not like the lyrics were anything special about his verse, so it was like, why are you trying so hard to be so ahead of the beat right now? The ad-libs were pretty standard. I mean, I've heard this flow a million times before. It's not anything unique. And then we finally get to Wi-Fi's verse, which I didn't mind at first, but then after I listened to it like 2 or 3 times, I realized this motherfucker sounds just like 21 Savage. On this song, it's like he took the flow of 21 Savage, which again, I didn't mind, but it was just so apparent with this song. And I don't know if he was doing it because he wasn't comfortable to keep his own flow. I would have preferred actually hearing a flow from him. I really could have done without a feature on this. Though it has all these shortcomings, it's still a track that I find myself coming back to over and over and over again. And I'm probably playing the song out because by this time at the end of the year, I probably won't even remember I was listening to this song. It's just not enough to keep you invested within just this track alone. And that's kind of a representation of majority of this project. Nothing is really done or said that's gonna maintain that focus that is required from a good project. Another track on here that's actually really enjoyable, and it's actually really short. It delves a little bit deeper into Wi-Fi's past and to his present. It refers to a time where he was broken. He remembers when he didn't have money and now he does. He remembers when he couldn't do things and now he can. He remembers when he had this this feeling of just helplessness, and now he feels like he can do something. He actually refers to this track and says he died 3 hours after he was born, so how the fuck is he here? If anything, that track to me is more grateful. If anything, he's really just saying thank you to his fans and to his position at this point. It's a shorter track, but I don't think it's something that needed too much length. I think it was actually a good amount of time for what he was talking about. That's where this thing falls short, because he mentions parts about his life throughout so much of this thing, where it's like, why make a track like that be the shortest when you've been mentioning certain parts of your thought process and mentality throughout this entire project? Album doesn't seem to have a point. It's almost as if he's trying to put a piece of himself on an album where he's also trying to gain further popularity by having certain flows and certain beats that are going to draw more people into wanting to hear his sound. And although he has a lot to say about his life, lyrically he's not really challenging you as a listener to go back to anything that he said and be like, wow, I can't believe he put that together the way he did. And that's been my issue with a lot of artists that tend to release albums or tracks even about majority of themselves. Is like, if you're going to talk about it or tell your own story, be a little bit more interesting with it, because essentially all you're doing is writing down your own experience, adding nothing, no content, no extra bars, nothing that's really substantial that's gonna make me say, wow, not only do I like what this guy had to say, but I'm more invested into it because he told it in such a diverse lyrical way. On the bonus track for this album called Numb, there's actually a really good lyrical hook that says, "'Cause I just feel numb, might die for a living." I actually really enjoyed that part of the song. I thought it was taken way too fast. Like, from his lyrics, he went instantly into the hook, which I didn't really like because it was nothing hard hitting. It was just, it felt like the hook was just a part of the song. It felt like the hook was just a part of the lyrics and the bass had dropped. That's pretty much all I felt when listening to it. And the hook is a lot for me. I really like listening to songs that have a very addicting hook. And that was one of those tracks, in my opinion, that really could have had an addicting hook had he just taken a little bit more time to develop it. Because it seemed like he was just saying his verse for the hook. It didn't sound like he was actually rapping the hook until he repeated it, and then you're like, oh yeah, shit, I didn't even know that was a part of it. All in all, this project was a decent listen. I just don't think there was enough going on with this thing for me to say, you know what, this guy is fucking crazy. Lyrically, he's a beast. Flow-wise, he's a beast. He really knows how to dominate everything, which I will give him kudos for. I mean, he knows how to dominate tracks and take over. He has enough energy to kind of keep you captivated for a song. It's just the subject matter of what he decides to talk about doesn't always hold you. Wifisfuneral, When Hell Falls, I will give it a 5 out of 10. It's a good listen. 5 out of 10 does not mean I did not enjoy the album. All it means is that there wasn't enough going on with the album for me to want to revisit it. Favorite tracks on this thing: Hell on Earth, Hunnits, 50s, My Bullshit, Floating on a Cloud, and the bonus track, Numb. More album reviews coming soon for you guys. I really enjoy doing album reviews even more than I do reactions. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Hope you did enjoy the album. Let me know your thoughts and how you felt about this Wifisfuneral project. If you haven't listened to it, I would recommend you give it a chance. It's something different, but it's not something crazy. It's just something to listen to. So if you're interested, I would recommend checking it out. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace. I don't know why that was a thing. I didn't mean to clap like that. I just kind of, I needed to do something to end the video.